Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner Classics, known classics. This is episode number 2098 in Doubleshot 1982. 1982, the very year my sister was born. Now, in the case of this episode, 2098, 2 episodes away from episode 2100. I'm like, wow, really? Wow, that's something. Alright, now this one I'm discussing a Batman trade and Turtles trade. This first one is okay, but let's discuss it. We have Batman, the Bat, and the Beast. Normally when I talk about the trades that collect this series, Batman Confidential, normally it's a first. Batman's career. This one, not really. It doesn't feel like a first, this one. Basically, the best way to describe this story is, what if Batman went to Russia? Yep, it's his visit to Russia and finding a creature known as the Tsar. Yeah, it's a very odd storyline. Now, I do love the artwork. The artwork is gorgeous. I love the cover out here. It's really good. The best thing about, the best thing about the story is the artwork, which is done by Andy Clark. This cover here is done by Jock. But that's the really good thing about the story is the artwork. It is really good. We see early version of the Batmobile. Well, actually, that's not Batmobile. Yeah, but mostly put, that's what the story is. It's just basically exploring a Batman having a time over in Russia. That's basically it. Do not know what time period it's set. It just basically, let's have Batman go to Russia for a complete story arc. By the way, this covered issues 3135, Batman Confidential. Yeah, it's okay, but like I said, best thing in the book is the artwork. I give the artwork a 10 out of 10. It's really good. The story I give an 8. Yeah, it feels just barely above average for a Batman story. Yeah, it was. I really got it because it's Batman Confidential. By the way, the story that comes right after this one is not in trade. And you're thinking, really? It isn't? Yeah, that's the strange thing about Batman Confidential. There's actually, believe it or not, a certain number of issues actually not in trade for no explained reason. Yeah, by the way, the very next story is called Black Hawk Down. Yeah, Black Hawk Down, which it's not in trade. Nope, it is not. As for why it's not in trade, I have no idea. So, in the case basically what I have reviewed for this particular trade series, well, I've reviewed most of the trades so far. I have reviewed the first 4 and this one. So I have overall left to go for this been collected for Batman Confidential. Roughly, actually, I have reviewed Rules of Engagement, Love Wrath Madman, The Wrath, The Cat and the Bat, and this one. All that's left to go is The King's Tomb, Ghost, and Batman vs. the Undead. And that shockingly is it. I do appreciate though DC did collect most of the series, but not entirely. Which, when I get a chance to do Batman vs. the Undead, it will be talking about, well, how should I put this? Talking about also an issue that wasn't collected in trade for some reason. You might be curious, am I going to discuss the story that comes right after this one? I maybe will. It's kind of shocking, though, the fact that they were collecting this in trade. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have done Dead to Rights. Yes, I have done that one. So, also just King's Tomb, Ghost, and Bat vs. Undead. Roughly 3 left. So, yeah, now moving on to a more interesting book. We have a book that got a lot of acclaim. And I believe it made IDW a lot of money when this series came out. Though it felt like it took a while for the series to come out because this book is actually done by one of the co-creators of the Turtles, Kevin Eastman. Yes, he writes this book and he does some of the artwork. He does the flashbacks in this book. This book is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin. Now you might be curious though, just by looking at the cover. Who is this turtle? Is it Donatello? Nope. Leonardo? Nope. Raphael? Nope. It's Michelangelo, which you're thinking, what? Really? given how he's written, he could be either Leonardo or it could be Raphael, but no, it's Michelangelo. So this is set roughly like about 20, 30 years. The best way to describe Last Ronin, it's basically Dark Knight Returns for Turtles, but done basically better than, let's say, what they did for Spider-Man Reign. About 30 years in the future, we actually have where the current head of the Foot Clan is the Shadow's grandson, who is the son whose mother is Karai. Yes. Who his father is never explained. Now, where is everybody else? Well, apparently, due to an explosion that happened when he rose to power, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael, along with Casey Jones, were all killed. Yep, they were all killed. They are seen in this book as hallucinations. Michelangelo is surprisingly no left alive. Also, Splinter is dead. The Shredder is dead. So, the main villain of this miniseries is the Shredder's grandson. And it's just a really good story. Kevin Eastman does an excellent job telling this story. And by the way, here's a fun fact with this book. The book was so popular, it got a sequel. Yes, it got a sequel, which I'm so glad they did that. Because this book is so good. Now, yes, Kevin Eastman does some artwork in here. We also have Peter Laird, the other co-creator who comes back for this one, along with Tom Waltz. Excuse me. The artwork is mostly done by Kevin Eastman. This is the flashback stuff. Here are the other artists. You have Ben Bishop, Isaac Ariska, and Isru Ariska. This book, if you're curious though, excuse me, it is roughly, I think it's like 5 issues, if I'm mistaken. 5 or 6 issues. Yeah, and mostly put, April O'Neil is still alive. Yeah, still alive. Has a teenage daughter. Yes, who, here's a strange thing though. She discovered she was pregnant after her husband, Casey Jones, by the way, they got married this timeline. After he died, she discovered she was pregnant, and basically, she was also injured at that point in time. At some point she did. Now, Michelangelo also becomes, when he meets her, by the way, her name is Casey. Yes, April named her daughter after her husband. And here's the thing. There is nothing wrong with a girl named Casey. No, not really. It's a name you can use both for guy and girl. Yep, a lot of times I've seen Casey usually used for women. Not much for guys per se, but usually for women. And she basically grew up basically listening to all the stories with the Turtles. And of course, Michelangelo becomes her sensei. During the book and teacher martial arts. And toward the end of the book, he does take down the Shredder's grandson. In a really good battle, yes. But I don't want to spoil too much about this book, because this book is so good. If you're a fan of the Turtles, check this book out. When I first heard about this book, I'm like, this book looks interesting. The Last Ronin. And it's part of TMNT. But if you're a fan of the Mirage Run, yeah. Now, by the way, I give this book a 10 out of 10. It's really good. I think like the last time these two ever worked together on the Turtles book was probably the original Mirage Run. It is something though, they got Peter Laird on the book, which the last time he was associated with the book from the research I've did was actually the last run that Mirage did for Turtles. It was the run that story was never completed due to the book being canceled. I think it was due to low sales, I think it was. Or at the time, I think the license of the character was actually sold to... Basically, from what I heard about the... Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird had a falling out, from what I heard. And Peter Laird bought Kevin Eastman's share of the franchise. And then he sold the whole franchise to Nickelodeon. And then, of course, that's how IDW got it, because IDW gets licensed comics. So, Kevin Eastman was brought in by IDW because, well, he had been, one, the co-creator of the characters, so, of course, he would know how to do a reboot of the characters. And my guess is he probably felt as though after having the Turtles being pretty much, in a way, IDW is one of the most successful series. And as of currently, At the time, as of like a couple years ago, it was, as of recently, it was the second longest running comic book published by IDW. But since the conclusion of the G.I. Joe American Hero book at issue 300, which I still haven't read the final issue yet, that is currently the longest book IDW is currently published right now. There is no book at IDW that's publishing as long as that book. That book has had over 100 issues published. Like, over the course of 12, I think, like, a little over 12 years, that book is published. And I've reviewed a good majority of the series so far. I haven't read everything for Turtles yet, but this book, as soon as I saw, I was thinking of buying it for Barnes & Noble, but not really. I mean, if you're curious about the price point of this book, though it's probably well worth buying it. It is, if you're curious, it is $30. Yeah, $30. The only reason why it costs that much because it's hardcover and it's big. Really big. Yep. But not much to say about these two books. Last Ronin, really good. Tavi, if you're watching this, I'd like to see your thoughts on this book. Because I'm sure you're a fan of the Turtles. I'm sure you probably would love to review this book because this book is so good. Yeah. The whole thing with Ronin. I appreciate the name Ronin as part of this group, as part of this book, because that was, believe it or not, one of the inspirations for the Turtles in the first place. Because the Turtles were heavily inspired by Daredevil and Ronin by Frank Miller. So, Frank Miller is indirectly responsible for the creation of Turtles. I say indirectly because, well, his work inspired the Turtles. And have a book called The Last Ronin made total sense. And have sort of a cyberpunk, like, book. I mean, the book itself, it's similar to the original Ronin book, but it's not a carbon copy. It actually focuses on a turtle. It's strange, though, they picked Michelangelo to be the one to be the last one. Now, why is it called Last Ronin? Like I said, it's a nod to one of the stories that inspired it. Yep. But yeah, that's particular view. And that's going to be a video tonight because it's going to come late now. So, tomorrow, Metal Heroes and Comic Corner. Yep. Next video. Bye.